we've left the comfort and safety of the cinema to come out on location today. And I'm joined here by Tom Cruise himself. Look how dapper you're looking. You showed me right up in my ski jacket.
Well, when you're out and about, you're going to look your best, haven't you? So.
Yeah, well, he knows. How you doing, Will? You okay?
Yes, thank you. Yes, yeah. Yourself?
Yeah, no, good.
It's the right day for it, didn't we? Weather-wise.
I mean, the weather's been weird, but we've struck gold here.
Yeah.
So Charlestown, for people who don't know, is just literally on our doorstep in St Austell. It almost feels like we've come to some kind of French Riviera, doesn't it? It's just a stone's throw away from the cinema.
Yeah, just down the road. So it's obviously associated with St Austell, but it still likes to keep its own identity, definitely. But certainly, developed in the last couple of years is a definite foodery, isn't it? Lots of
definitely coffee,
eateries, and coffee and food.
But a lot of film history here. So what we thought we'd do today on this kind of segment for the month for WTW Cinemas was come and have a little bit of a nose around and talk about some of the iconic movies, film productions, actors and actresses that have all kind of been here on location.
Definitely, yes. Yeah, we thought it'd be a good idea to sort of travel around a bit. Last year we went out onto different venues at WTW, but with the filming culture and history we've got in the area, it's nice to go on location because we can talk about it.
Yeah,
actually being at the place.
Hands up, I don't know too many. I'm hoping you're going to be my film buff, my tour guide.
Yes, yeah, guided tours. Yes,
yeah. And we see some kind of iconic ones, like Pirates of the Caribbean, I believe. Poldark, of course, if you're a big fan of Poldark, very Cornish, very iconic.
We had the premieres of Poldark in the cinemas, didn't we?
Of course,
the big red carpet one.
Who did you get to meet?
So it was Eleanor Tomlinson and Aidan.
Oh yes,
as well. So, yes,
Poldark.
yeah, and the other chap was Jack Varden.
Yes, that's right. And of course, Cornwall attracts a lot of interest from, I think, big superstars and who come on holiday here as well. We've seen
Mr. Cruise himself was going around in a little boat, wasn't he?
Right, Tom Cruise has been in the UK filming last summer. We've had a lot of sightings recently of people like Taylor Swift and Harry Styles all coming on holiday to Cornwall.
Yeah, loving it, aren't they?
Cool. So we're coming up to the Pier House now. Lots of kind of locations we're going to have a look at today. But Will, the Pier House quite influential in some quite iconic films.
Yes, one in particular we're going to have a look at.
We're going to look at this window. Why are we looking at a window about a cinema piece?
The Eagles landed. So we have Donald Sutherland's. There's one of the meeting places. The harbour's doubled up for where all the Nazis were making their plans to invade from. And he was like an Irish spy, spends over and has a disagreement with some of them.
That's
and gets through the window. So Donald Sutherland gets cascades through that window.
Thrown through the window. Yeah. Do you think they actually did it through the window, as in like a stunt window? Or just as it is?
I'm guessing so, yes. Yeah, it's quite realistic. I don't know if they replicated the set and like threw him through like the sugar glass that they use or whatever it is. Or I think they would have thrown him through a plate glass. I think insurance would cover that.
The Eagles Are Landed, I mean, surely everybody knows that film. It's an iconic classic film, but quite a lot was filmed here, wasn't it?
Yes, certainly the invasion plans and stuff. So Michael Caine was here, and who else was in that film? So obviously him, Donald Sutherland. There's a very big cast in it, and so it's one of the launching points when they plan their kidnapping. So
sure,
yes.
What I love is growing up, being an adult, and going back and watching some of these films. You really begin to recognise that's the wall from the harbour in Charlestown. This is the bit of the Pier House. There's a bit across the harbour as well, the kind of office hut as well. It's quite prominent.
Yeah, it's putting it all together. So, what was different with that film is that the heroes were the German Nazis in the war.
Yes.
We're sort of like following them, even though they're sort of trying to get some other heroes going against them, but they're the main focus. So it was unusual to have that sort of position following them.
Especially given the era, Second World War wasn't too far away, was it?
No. Yes,
Well, let's carry on. We're going to go on to and have a look at somewhere else. So we've moved over to the other side of the harbour now, and it turns out Donald Sutherland obviously quite liked Charlestown because he's done a few things here.
I guess so. I know his son's been here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I meant.
Yeah.
The family, like
the family,
Charlestown.
the Sutherland Association. So obviously Kiefer was in the Three Musketeers.
That's
back
right,
in the day,
of
yes.
course.
Yeah. Do you know who the other two Musketeers were? Quick quiz question.
The only thing I could ever tell you about Kiefer Sutherland is he was in 24.
Oh,
and
yes.
he's got a great country album out at the moment, which is random.
Quick plug,
so check
yes.
that out. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I don't. Go on, remind me.
Oliver Platt.
Yes, of course.
Yeah. And Charlie Sheen.
Charlie Sheen?
Yes, yeah. He
Are you sure? If you made that up?
Well, no, because he actually did visit the old film centre.
Oh.
But he didn't like
Amazing.
anyone with him, so he brought a bit of an entourage and he brought a load of seats. So he was in the middle and like the rows in front either side. So yeah, very socially distanced. But that was back in 1991. So
He's always been a bit
I know.
bonkers, I'm guessing.
I think so. Yeah, yeah. I think at the time there's probably a bit of recreational stuff going on as well.
Yeah,
when
yeah,
there's-
sure.
yeah, with the Rat Pack.
It really blows my mind when you hear like names like Charlie Sheen, Kiefer Sutherland, such big names being here on our doorstep where, you know, I've certainly grown up.
Yes,
It's mad.
Yeah, it's great. So we're just saying about other locations around. We're going to go to some others, but I just did drop you like Truro. I can't think of any films that have been in Truro.
No, that's it. And it's funny when the Queen musical kind of biopic came out a
Yes.
few years ago, I didn't realise that Queen had that association with Truro in the very early days.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I can think of with Truro and films.
Then they had an association with Weybridge as well. They've done some recording over
That's
there. when
right,
they were-
yeah.
In their early days at Smile, wasn't it? The
Yeah,
first
and
group,
I think when we went over last year and had a chat with Rob,
Yes,
he did mention that,
I
yeah.
think they used the toilet, didn't they? Because the acoustics, it
That's
was something random.
right,
Yes,
yeah, very
yeah,
strange.
yeah, very unusual story. But yeah, when you see someone visiting or filming, it's always on the coastal locations, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's
of
always
course.
around and about. So yeah,
Yeah.
Truro doesn't get a look in that side.
No.
So, yeah.
Come on,
Levels it
Troy,
out.
sort it out, honestly. And just going back to Three Musketeers, I mean,
Yeah.
the venue, you know, Charlestown Harbour lends itself beautifully for such kind of big action scenes and
Yes, yeah, and the tall ships as well.
Mm.
If they're around, they often get used, and yeah, the whole battery just fits lovely because there hasn't been lots of work done to it, and I think they try and keep it. Well, they do. Obviously, they have to put their sets in front. There's always a bit of excitement, isn't there, when there's
Yes.
some set building going on, a bit of work going on, and then
Yeah.
the message will go out, sort of. Tom Hardy's down. Charles tells
Yeah,
him, gets the dog,
yeah,
goes for a
yeah.
walk to see if they can see him. So,
big kind of people staking out almost, isn't it? Quite often kind of looking to see somebody.
and Poldark stalking as well. Isn't it?
Yeah,
Yes,
that's it. People love Poldark,
yeah.
which is, you know, lends itself beautifully. You mentioned Tom Hardy there.
Yeah.
He's been here as well. Am I right in
Yes,
saying
yeah,
that?
Taboo. So it was a BBC drama. Pretty gritty one. So
Mm.
yeah, I enjoyed that though. It was good. There's supposed to be a sequel, but we yet to see that one. It's worth a watch. I recommend
See.
that one to you. Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
A bit dark and a bit twisted, but yes, Charlestown does feature in that quite heavily. So
Yeah.
he does growl a lot through it as he does those. He's going-
Growl?
yeah. That's the thing. Yes, yeah. Brooding. Yeah.
And Alice in Wonderland was another one you wanted to mention.
Yeah,
Now, which
he
one are we
used that one,
talking?
so-
Because there's been a few over the years.
The live action first one with Johnny Depp as the Mad Hatter.
Johnny Depp.
Yes, yeah. So Charlestown features at the end of that. It's only a bit of a brief, fleeting appearance, but it does crop up. But they did use Anthony House for a backdrop as well.
That's right.
of the
Yeah.
film, so yeah. But whether we can get permission to go in there for a scoot around with the cameras, I don't know. We'll have to
Maybe some lunch.
try and charm them that way. Yes, yeah.
There's not many places I can think of tall ships and Cornwall without thinking of Charlestown. So I guess
think
it's
it's
kind of the kind of, I'm going to say one of the only, because I don't know anymore.
I can't think of any others. No, I mean there's plenty of harbours around, but actually having the tall ship,
Mm.
even I think it is. I think it's the only.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going out on a limb here, but
Yeah.
I don't think
Have you
it's
ever,
gonna
have
do
you ever been on
it.
one?
Yes.
Oh, of course
yeah.
he has.
Not sailing, but you could do the tours and stuff. It was a few years ago, and I had two girls, and they were quite young actually, and I took them on. They were at school, so I think they're like 4 and 6, and a hooter or something went off when we were on there. And one of them was scared by his hooter and started howling. And because one started howling, the other one started howling. So these two children were howling because his hooter was going, "Rah, rah, rah." So we didn't actually stay on the tall ship for very long because we were howling.
Not a fan.
No. It must be a particular pitch they didn't like. 'Cause they're normally pretty good. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, we often joke about that. So, yeah, the howling of the hooter on the tall ship. So I haven't been back on one since.
No,
but
funny.
yeah.
Well, let's move on. We're going to look at another location now. So let's go. regretting my coat choice, Will. I'm not going to lie. It's for winter in February. It's boiling.
It is, yeah, because it was quite cold earlier, so I understand that. So I was up quite early taking the eldest to a bus trip to London, and that wasn't too bad. Then went for the other school run, and that's really cold.
Yeah.
Now the sun's beating on us.
Yeah.
Gonna have a suntan by the end of this.
The Cornish Riviera, everybody. And I've got to say, it's a few more people coming around as well now as we kind of make our way around Charlestown.
Watching us as well, thinking there's
Yes,
something going
getting
on.
involved.
Yeah, who's that? I don't know.
We've moved over to the harbour side now, and in the background you can kind of just see Carlisle Bay, which is another beautiful spot which is featured in a few things.
Definitely, yes. Yeah, the most famous one would be Mel Gibson's Apocalypto, 2006 film. So it was about the Mayan Empire. And it was pretty brutal, that was. So, yeah. I think they shot a lot of it in the original language as well. So
Wow.
I think, off the top of my head, because I haven't researched this, really just remembered this film today, that it did win an Oscar for like foreign language film. Well, it was certainly nominated anyway. So, yeah.
Gibson likes to have quite arty films, quite kind of
when he's
pushing the barrier sometimes.
Yes, yeah. So he's done that, and obviously The Passion of the Christ as well. So yeah, he does sort of go and tries to get as authentic, I suppose is probably a good word, sort of using the original languages and bits and pieces. He hasn't done a lot for a while. Obviously, he's had a few issues offset, but he is back doing films again. He's in that Daddy's Home too, so he's back on the scene. But yeah, I'm not quite sure if he's doing a lot at the moment. So.
Do you think we'll see more kind of films being made in the UK? Because I think certainly during COVID in the last few years, we've seen a lot of big names and big productions happening just natively in the UK. Being a location scout for a film must be a pretty nice job.
Yes,
almost really desirable, I think.
Definitely, yes, yeah, because it's still got that oldie worldy element as well to a lot of it. So you come down and look, so you would have to do a lot of work, but here you come down and say, actually no, use that, use that. So there's still those elements, and you have got the modern side of it, but for your sea locations and like the ruggedness that you need sometimes for the windswept-ness, and it's perfect for all of that. So.
And it's not just films, of course, TV programmes as well. We spoke about Poldark earlier. Yeah. I know places like St Maur's are very popular with a lot of German TV productions and things.
Charlestown is as well, actually.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, they're often filming stuff. What they film. People don't actually know, but it's a big thing that they're filming for German TV or German film.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's very popular for the Bavarian market.
Yeah, and there's a few TV programmes that have happened here more recently.
Yes, there was that Frontier.
So I don't know this one.
I'm not overly familiar myself. All I know is that Jason Momoa was in it, and there was uproar. I'm sure it was like front pages of the local papers that Momoa was spotted getting into a taxi in St Austell. So.
Oh, can you imagine? That just sounds bonkers. Doesn't it?
Yes,
absolutely bonkers.
Yeah. But I think he's quite noticeable, isn't he? He's pretty tall, and
he's quite a unit. And is he Aquaman?
Yes.
Joe's nodding. Yes, Aquaman. Yeah, that's where.
There's an Aquaman 2 out this year, actually, linking on to that. So,
okay.
Yeah. The first one's quite good, actually. Quite enjoyed that.
Yeah.
It's a bit of an old-fashioned, like, adventure type story. So, yeah, it's good fun.
Yeah, that's nice. And if for people who maybe aren't familiar with Charlestown, a lot. We spoke about restaurants and things, pubs and things. There's the Shipwreck Heritage Centre, which I guess tries to bring together a lot of the history of Charlestown from the sailing, the big ships, all these things. A little bit of a tie-in here with Titanic, the cinema, and the Shipwreck Heritage Centre. How has this come about?
Well, they've had a display for the Titanic there for a number of years. And there was
of course, iconic Titanic. Of course, everybody knows the Titanic story.
Yes, the story, and also we had the big film back in 1997, which was the second big film which I started with. I started in 1997. Full Monty was first, and then Titanic was the second. So baptism of fire for me.
Full Monty was your first
big film.
Loved it.
I started when that was on. So yeah, and that ran for like 26 weeks, and then that broke a record. And then Titanic broke that record. So yeah, I started with two whoppers, but I don't know if that's the correct word to use.
Phrasing there. Definitely.
Two big films.
With Titanic as well, I'm sure I read somewhere quite recently that there was a little boy who featured in it. And he took part of his kind of deal was to have the kind of when they take not the rights, but they get paid every year, don't they, royalties for being in it.
Yeah.
And because it's been one of the most successful films ever, he's still creaming in the money
just off the royalty
at the age of like 30 now, or however old he is. That's a nice little gig to get.
Yeah, you get percentage points, don't you? So yeah, that would be good. But going back to the link for this one, and I'm not sure if it actually came from them, but in the old film set in 1997, we were lent a full a scale model of the Titanic ship. Someone has spent a long, long time making this ship. And we had it on display in the foyer, so it was like quite well protected. I was enjoying it. And there's one particular customer we have come in, and should we say he's unsteady in his legs, made a beeline for this and bang, hit the table. It's like shooting off the back.
Oh,
Luckily, one of my colleagues, Richard at the time, turned, saw it, and just caught it like that. So, but then manager Mr. Preston didn't take very well to that and had to go and sit down for a considerable amount of time. Panic stations. So I don't think we had it on display much longer after that. I think it might have been boxed up and said, you can come and collect it now.
Have you been lent anything since?
Sort of. I was just thinking that. Have we had other things? We have. We had a car outside for the latest Iron Man, the Avengers film. It's like the Iron Man special car. You remember that one? That was quite recent. And Peter Rabbit, a lady brought a rabbit in. She phoned me up and said, "Oh, I think your children like to see a rabbit when they come see the cinema." I said, "Yeah, I'm sure they would. I can bring my rabbit in." So we arranged it. It was like a bit of a very last minute thing. And she came in for the afternoon with this rabbit. Yeah, and these children, so they loved it. So yeah, we've had a few unusual displays, and
I feel like we're gonna have to get creative now and see what other films are coming out this year and see how we can top that.
Yes, amazing. What creatures can we get in? So, good choice. No Lion King, Jurassic World.
Right, we need to find a dinosaur somewhere somehow. Okay, leave that with me. I'll sort that out.
Yeah.
Right, let's wander back up because we need to talk about the films that are coming up very soon to the cinema.
I suppose we do. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So sticking with tradition for our little cinema pieces, although it's been lovely to come out on location today.
Yeah.
No disrespect to cinema, it's lovely, but I'm sure you spend a lot of time there.
Yes, it's nice to get out, see the daylight. Because sometimes people will say, "Oh, it's bad weather and stuff." I don't know.
No idea.
Wouldn't they? They were stuck in the dark.
Any time of day or night, anything's going on. Yeah. We'll have a look at some of the upcoming films for kind of like late March, early April. What are you looking forward to?
Well, early March is The Batman.
Oh, The Batman.
Yeah, that's the official title for that film. So
this is the kind of new take on the Batman. Robert Pattinson stepping into the role.
Yes. So it's going back to the early days. I think it's like his second year into being a crime fighter. So we had different versions, but most of them have him as an established character. So it'd be quite nice to see him sort of in the early days with his work. So time set in what we can see is going to be looking a bit like a 90s sort of look, I think. So yeah. It's a long film though, about 3 hours long.
3 hours?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's a 15 as well, so that's going to cause us trouble because all the parents will want to be bringing their kids in to watch it like they did for Venom and they do for Deadpool and all the usual excuses that we get. So no, you can't come in if you're under 15. So it has to be 15, so that's always... We're hoping for a 12A, but looking from the trailers now, it's pretty gritty and serious. Like, the Riddler's a serial killer and it's all quite dark and disturbing. So it should be good.
And it's kind of bringing back some of those kind of I guess characters we might not have seen since the 90s kind of takes on the film.
Catwoman's back again, and then there's the Penguin, which is Colin Farrell. That you wouldn't recognise. We talked about this before, I think. Yeah, completely different. And the Riddler as well. And then obviously your supporting characters back in as usual. So Arthur the Butler, who is Andy Serkis.
Yeah, quite a shift now, isn't it? Because a lot of people will still be kind of sticking with the Christopher Nolan films.
Which one's your favourite? So do they go for those? I still like the earlier ones than that, the Tim Burton ones with Michael Keaton. So I like those. But the Nolan ones are really good as well. So, but I prefer the earlier ones. But no one will ever say Batman and Robin though. That's George Clooney. Disastrous.
Adam West. It's still Adam West.
I prefer that. Adam West. Good fun they were. So they knew what they were doing. Was that Clooney one was. Yeah,
very exciting for a new chapter for the Batman. I think DC really trying to give that another go, isn't it? And establish kind of how well we've seen some of the Avengers stories and characters have a bit of a reboot. It's DC's turn.
Yeah, how it's going to tie in with the current extended universe, I'm not too sure. I think it'll probably be a bit more standalone. I think they're signed up for 2, maybe 3 films. Yeah, depending on the success.
And Pattinson, how do you think he's going to do? He's got quite big shoes to fit in. When you say Robert Pattinson, most people go Twilight. Water for Elephants.
Yes, Harry Potter.
Oh yes, of course.
Yeah, that's
Harry
his
Potter
first one. Cedric.
Fire,
I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't have. If someone said, "Oh, who are you going to get to play a new Batman?" I wouldn't have come up with him as a name. But they've done a few unusual choices in the past, and they tend to work out. So, I mean, he's a good actor, very good. So, I think it'll be be fine.
Well, we will see. We will see. What else are we looking forward to? We've got Fantastic Beasts coming up in April.
Yeah. Yes.
This is the third instalment.
It is. Yeah, a couple of changes. Obviously, Johnny Depp's been ousted.
Yes, he's moved on to other commitments.
Yes, yeah. And Mads Mikkelsen has taken over, but they've been fortunate in the past that the character can sort of like change his image and stuff, so they can cover that over quite easily with a bit of magic. And Mikkelsen's a good choice, actually. He's a go-to villain, so he'll pull off a good role.
I feel like we've had a bit of a wait for this one as well. Of course, it was kind of pushed back and pushed back like a lot of films. And the end of the second one kind of literally just kind of stops, doesn't it? So you're waiting for the next one.
We've had
a good old wait.
Yeah, a bit of cliffhanger. So the Secrets of Dumbledore, this one, and so it was going to tie in some of the family history and secrets and everything. So yeah, I think it will depend for the fans if there's going to be much of Hogwarts in the game. They all got very excited last time because the first one was all in America, wasn't it? Predominantly, and then the last one had a bit of Hogwarts that got them excited. So they like the new stuff, but they do love to have that sort of hint to the traditional Harry Potter elements and go back to the school.
Yeah, so looking forward to that one. I'm sure all the Harry Potter fans are as well. Get some more kind of Harry Potter lore.
Or the Wizarding World fans.
That's it. It's still huge, isn't it? They've just recently celebrated, what, 20 years, was it?
We had
20th birthday?
Yeah, we had the re-release of Philosopher's Stone in cinema. So back on the big screen. They've done that reunion on TV, didn't they?
That's right.
Yeah. Get the cast back. I didn't watch that one. Did you see it?
I didn't see it. I just saw some. I don't know if this was just the internet, but people weren't sure if Emma Watson and Rupert Grint were actually in the same room because it was shot so it looked like it.
Yeah.
But then this kind of internet sleuths I thought maybe it was a bit of green screen trickery where they were maybe in different parts of the world but interesting.
Well, like we do. Some
you're actually in Dubai at the moment.
It's like a hologram.
Tell me about what Hugh Grant is up to, please. You've got this film coming with Hugh Grant.
Yeah, Operation Fortune. So it's Guy Ritchie's new venture. And have you seen The Gentleman? You did see that, didn't you?
Oh, I can't remember.
Guy Ritchie. Well, you know, Hugh Grant was in that, and he was playing the sort of dastardly newspaper reporter.
Yes.
That dodgy accent like this. So he's playing a character with basically the same voice and the same sort of depraved mentality, but like he's higher up. He's like a proper villain this time. And Statham's a spy. It's got Josh Hartnett back in. He hasn't done much in a while, so yeah, he's been right back in.
Wow.
Aubrey Plaza's in it as well, so yeah,
it's
a very eclectic cast, but it looks really good fun. So
we're seeing. I think that seems to be quite a popular thing at the moment. Kind of picking characters, or certainly actors and actresses who wouldn't necessarily you'd assume to be in a film together. Yeah. And we were talking just as we were walking around earlier about. Channing Tatum and Sandra Bullock being in a film, which is
Lost City.
Kind of a strange mix for me as well.
Yeah, definitely. Because she's tried to go a bit more serious recently, I think. So she's going back to doing a proper comedy sort of thing again. But yeah, you wouldn't necessarily.
Is she getting on a bit now, Sandra? I was trying to work out how old she is now.
I think she's 52 or 3, early 50s, I believe. Yeah.
Oh, well, look forward to that one.
Yes.
That's kind of films. What's happening at the cinema? You've got some things coming back.
Silver Screen starts again in March. Not sure when this is going out, but there'll be every Thursday 6-week run, starting with West Side Story, and Save Our Cinema, King Richard, Never Too Late, House of Gucci. So yeah, it's quite a good lineup.
People who aren't familiar with Silver Screen.
Silver Screens, it's Thursday mornings. There's 2 showings, like at 10:30 and 11 a.m. It's £4 a ticket, and they get a tea, coffee, and a biscuit. So, but the film selections and the time it's on tends to point itself towards the more mature market for visiting, should we say? But anyone is welcome. But the older clientele is taken care of with these performances. Yeah.
Oh, lovely.
So, yeah, it was pretty popular. So
nice to be getting back to that as well, which is cool.
Yeah.
Well, there we go. That has it from us here in Charlestown. As always, if you want any more information about upcoming film times, gift vouchers, all these fun things, where do they go?
Harbour Jump.
No, not in the harbour. No, not in the harbour.
WTWcinemas.co.uk, or our social pages as well. There's always on our Facebook and our Twitter up-to-date information.
Brilliant stuff. Well, pleasure being out with you today. Thank you so much for the talk.
Lovely. Thank you.
Cool.
Right.